And we are live here at the World Blockchain Summit. I've been bragging about I was speaking at the first ever World Blockchain Summit. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it sounds really good and everybody's really impressed. Oh, wow. That's really, no, gee. Yeah, exactly. Salim and I were like this, tighter than two elephants in a Foot Locker. No, I'm kidding. So I have with me here Sheraz Ahmed, and we've met before, but we were just talking about business. So tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing and what brought you here to the World Blockchain Summit.
So the managing partner of Storm Partners, the co-executive director of the Crypto Valley Association, been active in this space for 6-7 years now, been supporting a lot the Swiss ecosystem to grow. And we see a lot of really good ties between Dubai and Switzerland. Both are quite opposite, to be honest, but you see opposites attract in many different ways. And Dubai is accommodating to a lot of the Eastern Hemisphere, be it, let's say, the African and Asian markets. And they have quite a fast and dynamic approach. And we see a lot of companies that are building up in Dubai, then come and base themselves as well in Switzerland, have either a subsidiary, have a foundation or something there in Switzerland. And so there's a lot of ties and working together.
Interesting. So Switzerland is a place that has come up quite a few times over the last year or so. I understand the foundation structure is one that is attractive to people. Can you talk about what are some of the attractive parts of that foundation structure?
Yeah, so creating a foundation essentially means creating a nonprofit. And so when you're launching your own token, the fact that you're going to have a high level of treasury within that is worth maybe billions, but it's highly illiquid, right? So if you were to create that in a for-profit entity, you'd essentially be taxable for the billions in illiquid tokens that you'd have on your balance sheet. Doing so via a foundation in Switzerland allows you to essentially not be taxed on that illiquid amount of money, but then being able to kind of use it to support a certain ecosystem. So it's a really interesting way of being able to make a kind of circular economy happen in a very efficient manner.
Well, it is, a couple of points. I talk about it here and there. I don't know how much on camera, but back in the day, if the company was holding a lot of the tokens, or if certain people were holding a lot of the tokens, that was a big no-no. It was like, don't invest in them. They're, whatever. But the reality is now there's quite a few coins, I would say, in the top 100, 200, where the company is retaining a lot of the tokens, or certain holders are retaining a lot of the tokens, and they're just managing the treasury. So it sounds like Switzerland would be a good position well for that.
Definitely. I mean, they kind of operate a little bit as a central bank of their own protocol in some ways, which can be seen as a positive and a negative thing, depending on how the governance structure is based. But I think a lot of the protocols that I've seen now have been buying up some of the supply. They've been trying to kind of help some of the market there, right. And it's been quite good. I believe, especially if they have a governance token that allows the community to participate in some of those decisions. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, big stocks, they do stock buybacks, all these types of things. So all that stuff's very important. So talk to me a little bit about your company, what services they provide, what's your goal here at the World Blockchain Summit?
So the two key pillars of Storm Partners are marketing and legal. They're two very fundamental pillars when it comes to launching a blockchain Web3 related project or even getting into the space, due to, of course, community being a really stronghold, but also the regulatory framework, making sure that you're not getting into any, let's say, tax implications with all these tokens. You're building for the long term. You don't want, be it the SEC or another regulatory body, to come down and be like, this was a security. And I think it's a point of concern for many projects.
Sure.
So having marketeers and lawyers sit next to the same table adds a lot of value to projects. One of the ones that we've seen recently, actually the SEC came out with this a few weeks ago, is that they used emojis on Twitter, or project used emojis on Twitter, and the SEC defined the token as a security token solely based on emojis. Can you imagine that? No. They used the rocket emoji, the tongue emoji with the dollar sign, and another one, the stock market one. Mm-hmm. And based on the emojis, it showed that it was a security token. So I think there's a real big importance between what is the foundational layer, the structure, corporate structure, then also the communication. Just because you have a good regulatory structure doesn't mean that if you communicate in an outright way, it's not going to make it potentially a security token. So the small differences between saying that you have token investors instead of, let's say, token contributors, which is the more legally compliant word, makes a whole lot of difference on the long term.
Interesting. So, and then here at the World Blockchain Summit, what is your goal here?
Look, there are really some great creative minds. Some of the speakers today have been phenomenal. We have a lot of clients and partners that are here as well. So it's just being able to connect, understanding. The market is just booming, but it's also so volatile. It's crazy. Be it on the crypto market side, but also the blockchain side. People are innovating daily. I feel like people don't sleep when it comes to this industry. So just kind of being in the know, seeing where people's minds at is really always important. Speaking to them, seeing where things are going, because when you look at the public markets, they never tell the true story. You need to kind of see the back end, speak to the people, understand what's going on.
Interesting. And so how long are you in town for?
I've been here now for 10 days and flying out back to Geneva tomorrow. So yeah, it's been a very energized trip. There's been so many opportunities that have arisen, and now to go back to Switzerland to build on them.
Yeah, amazing. So we were both at AIBC as well. We had a lot of interviews, man. We were stacked up. You might have walked over there and saw what was going on. But they really killed it, The AIBC was a really good conference. Always Salim and his team do an amazing job here. So definitely a lot of people coming in here now. I'll be speaking at 2 p.m. There's a lot of other people, plenty of companies in here. So so you go back to Switzerland after that? Do you have anywhere else set on like a road show, or you just work for the time?
Yeah, heading to the Crypto Assets Conference in Frankfurt. That's going to be quite fun. Going to the 8th anniversary of Liberland. It's quite an interesting one. This new nation that is forming. Interesting initiatives that are being placed there. And I'm also going to head to the Financial Times Crypto Summit in London. I think there's some really great conferences that are coming up. It is.
Awesome. What's the website, social media? How do people find you guys?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Sheraz Ahmed. You can find Storm Partners. Website is storm.partners, quite easy to find. And then all our social media is on there. So yeah, reach out to us there.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks
for coming on, man.
Pleasure.
See you soon.